Welcome to the Bodhi Academy. My name is Shrutika, and today let us start with a new chapter from Standard 12, that is sexual reproduction in flowering plants. So, what is reproduction? So, reproduction ensures continuity of generation after generation. As the older generation undergoes senescence and die, flowering plants show sexual mode of reproduction and bears complex reproductive units as male and the female reproductive units, along with accessory structures. So, we all know that reproduction is a very important process which happens in the living organism. So, in flowers also, reproduction happens through sexual mode of reproduction. And how this reproduction happens in flower, in the plant, is through the flower. So the flower is called as the reproductive organ of the plant, wherein the flower bears the male and the female reproductive organs, which will produce the male and female gametes, which fuse together to form the new seeds, which will develop into new plants. So this is how sexual reproduction happens in the flowering plants. So we will study in detail about their process in this chapter. So let us start. So flower is called as the reproductive organ of the plant. And why it is so? Because the flower consists of the male reproductive part called as the androecium and the female reproductive part which is called as the gynoecium. So androecium and gynoecium. So now we will see the structure of flower, how the androecium and gynoecium are placed in the flower, and then we will move to detailed study of the male and female part separately. So now we will see the structure of flower. So this is a structure of flower wherein we can see different parts, which are the first part over here. These are the accessory parts, which is the sepals, and the petals. So the petals and the sepals forms the outer corolla of the calyx and the corolla of the flower. Then comes your male part. The male part consists of the anther and the filament. So this anther and the filament are the male parts of the flower. So these are called the anther, which will consist of the pollen grain, and the anther are attached to the base of the flower through a attachment called as the filament. Then comes the middle structure which is the female part, reproductive part, which consists of the stigma, then the long pipe-like structure which connects the stigma to the ovary called as the style, and then the ovary which consists of the female gamete, that is ovules. So this is the overall structure of a flower, wherein there are accessory organs which are the petals and the sepals, which forms the calyx and the corolla of the flower. Then you have male reproductive part, that is anther and the filament, and the female reproductive part, that is stigma, style and ovary. So we will study in detail about the male and the female part now separately. So this was about the structure of the flower. Now we will see how the structure of the male and female part is. Okay, so first we will see the androecium. So a flower is called as the reproductive organ of the plant, which consists of the androecium and the gynoecium. So androecium, it is basically it consists of anther, and the filament, which is the attachment to the flower. So this is the anther and this is the filament, and it is also called as stamens. So this is the main reproductive part. Now we will see how the female reproductive part is. So the female reproductive part, it is called as pistil, and the structure is, this is the stigma, then comes your style, and the bulging part called as the ovary. So these are the three parts of the female reproductive part, that is the gynoecium, which is called as pistil, which has the stigma, style and ovary, and male reproductive part called as the stamens, which consist of anther and the filament. So how now the male reproductive part, inside the anther they will form male gametes. Okay, and these male gametes are called as pollen grains, and inside the ovary, that there are tiny grains like structure which are called as ovules, and these ovules form what? The female gametes. Okay, so this is about the structure of the male gamete and the female gamete. So what we have seen in today's class is what is the meaning of reproduction, how reproduction happens in the plant. It is through the flower, which is called as the reproductive organ of the plant. The flower consists of two parts, that is the male reproductive part and the female reproductive part, which is anther and the filament, and stigma, style, ovary are the female reproductive part. The male gamete is called as the pollen grain and the female gamete is called as the ovules. So this is about today's video. We will continue with the next video about in detail about the structure of the male and the female part and how the gamete formation takes place in the male and the female part. So thank you for watching today's video. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe to the Bodhi Academy.